Hello! 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 Thank you for joining me today. So, I want to start off the video with a quick question. Do birds of a feather really flock together? There's no twist here. Unsurprisingly, they do. These are birds. In particular, a group of albatrosses that has been flying for months over the Arctic Ocean. For many in the flock, this is their first time embarking on the seasonal migration, and despite seemingly having no knowledge of the landscape below, they will complete their seasonal journey in a near-perfect V-shaped formation. Fun fact, fighter pilots take a cue from birds, and they will also fly in a V-shaped formation to conserve fuel. But then the question arises, how do they know where to go? And how do they know to fly in that V-shaped formation that has become synonymous with bird migration? Well, simply put, we don't know. There are some prevailing theories on the migration of birds, but they're kind of long and complicated and involve magnetic fields and quantum physics, and I got bored reading about it, to be honest, but if you want to learn more, I linked the sources I used in the description below. Well, funnily enough, it's not only birds that share this trait. In fact, grouping up is extremely common throughout most of the animal kingdom. Whether it's giant herds of bison, or elephants, or swarms of locusts or bees, or even an army of frogs. Yes, that's the term for a group of frogs. With some animals, there's a bit of a shift in that they prefer to keep it only in the family. Like a pride of lions, a pod of orcas, or a fierce pack of wolves. Grrr. And then there's us, the not-so-humble human race, which by some miracle has managed to divide themselves up into more groups than any other species before it. To elaborate on what I mean, let's look at Dave Davidson here. Hi, Dave.
Hello, audience.
Dave is a member of the Davidson family, and he's proud of his last name. But more than that, Dave is a proud resident of Philadelphia. He loves the Eagles, Kevin Hart is his favorite actor, and he plays the Rocky theme song before he goes into work every day so he doesn't forget what he's fighting for. But more than that, Dave is a proud inhabitant of Pennsylvania. He'll swear by the state as a whole, because to quote Google, it is one of the nation's most important industrial centers for coal, steel, and railroads, especially before World War II. But more than that, Dave is an American, and he's proud of the country he calls home. He loves everything from bald eagles and jet skis to the amazing opportunity it provided for him and his family when they first moved here. Oh, did I not mention? Dave's a second-generation immigrant from Albania. He has not forgotten his Albanian heritage. So he's so proud of his roots, and he identifies as an Albanian through and through. And he loves tave kosi and fërgjës and other Albanian things. Sorry, Albania. This script was written by an uncultured American. But regardless, Dave Davidson is a Davidson, a Philadelphian, a Pennsylvanian, an American, and an Albanian all wrapped up in one. And that's before we even discuss his political and religious beliefs. So Dave Davidson, along with most of the rest of us, are members of more groups than we can count. And I have to wonder the impact that this can have on a person. Because the amount of mental strength and fortitude it takes to make and maintain these distinctions must be immense. And with each new distinction is some faith or some dedication to the ones that came before it lost. For some bonkers reason, humans have developed an incessant need to group themselves. And the reason might boil down to one of humanity's greatest inventions: culture. Ever since we gained sentience, humanity's been on a whirlwind of culture development. All over the world, different cultures and different belief systems developed relatively independent of each other, which gave us some of the beautiful diversity we can view today. Each of these cultures didn't always share the same beliefs and ideologies, and in typical human fashion, we figured that the best way to deal with these conflicts in ideology and perspective was to solve it through logical and clear communication. And oh boy, did we fight. We fought over religion, we fought over resources, we fought over land, we fought over pride, and sometimes we fought over nothing at all. It's just all we were geared to do. And every time we fought, we divided ourselves a little bit more, and the divisions would change, but more or less the world only became more and more fractured as time went on. Even when we weren't at war, we still found a reason to fight each other. Because, for some reason, humanity only seems to be at home when we're divided.
Surely these are just relics of the past, right? There's no way we're anywhere as primitive now.
Clearly, we still have some work to do. Whether it's been on the basis of politics, or ideology, or wealth, or geography, or maybe even by the car you drive, we never really got over splitting ourselves up into little groups that ebb and flow and differ on every opinion but share one trait, and that they all hiss at those different, because surely only they can peek behind the veil of truth, and only their words echo that truth. On the eve of Dave's 30th birthday, he met a wise old man who, in hindsight, Dave is almost certain was magical. Dave had seen him sitting at the park bench, feeding some pigeons, and as Dave walked by, the old man said to him, "Beliefs are such clunky things." Dave looked at him, rightfully confused, and said, "Huh? When you hold on to them too tightly, there's no room in your mind for change." "I'm sorry, sir. Do I know you?" "No, I don't believe we've met." The old man then looked down at his flock of pigeons, and Dave turned to walk away, but for some reason, he stopped midway. Why do you keep feeding the pigeons? You know more will come if you don't stop." "They may come, or they may not come, but either way, I have bread to spare." Dave, now certain the old man was insane, turned and walked away.
Maybe our beliefs should be fluid. Given the chance that we get to think freely and unhindered by the world, it'd be a shame if we went back to listening to just one voice, even if it was our own.
It seems that for many people, once freed from oppression, whether it's oppression in the form of tyranny, circumstance, or both, it is only a few generations before they seek the freedom to impose their will on the world around them, which, ironically, typically ends up circumventing the freedom of other humans, and the cycle continues. It appears that, as a result of humanity's flawed nature, even the hunt for freedom has found a way to morph into a means by which to perpetrate oppression. The universe undoubtedly has a fantastic sense of humor, because in every place we look for answers, only paradoxes abound. And I can just see the universe now, chuckling to itself, as its silly infants stare at their toys in disarray, wondering how such impossible things found their way into their lives.
So, maybe we know nothing, and we're destined to remain paradoxically and somewhat confusingly divided in our search for unity. Well, I implore you to take comfort in the birds, for if after millions of years they managed to figure out how to flock together, then maybe, given a little bit more time, we will too. But until next time, I bid you adieu, and a darn tootin' good night.